Hey there, coin hunters, collectors, and folks who just happened to find some old change in the couch cushions. Welcome back to the channel where we turn pocket change into potential treasure. Now hold on to your seats, because what I'm about to tell you might make you want to raid every junk drawer, glove compartment, and mason jar in your house. We're talking about the humble little copper coin that could be hiding in plain sight, the 1977 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. Yup. That 1-cent coin you probably flipped to make decisions in your younger days? Turns out, one rare version of that exact coin is now worth up to $1 million. That's right. $1 million. For a penny. If that doesn't make you want to double-check your spare change, I don't know what will. Let's dig into the story of this unassuming little coin and find out why it's got collectors going absolutely nuts. Well, it's part of the Lincoln Memorial Cent series. That's the penny design that ran from 1959 all the way up to 2008, featuring good old Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. In 1977, these pennies were minted primarily at the Philadelphia and Denver mints. The ones from Denver have a little d under the date. The ones from Philadelphia? No mint mark at all. That's right. If your 1977 penny has no letter under the date, you're holding a Philadelphia strike. Now usually, a 1977 penny with no mint mark is worth, well, about 1 cent. Maybe 2 cents if it's got sentimental value or you're trying to impress someone who loves coins, but every so often, the minting process hiccups. And when it hiccups just right or just wrong, depending on how you look at it, a rare error is born. And those errors? That's where the money comes in. Let's talk about rarity, condition, and errors. This specific $1 million penny didn't just roll off the line like the others. It has one or more extraordinary features that make it stand out like a diamond in a gravel driveway. We're talking minting errors. These could include doubled dies where Lincoln's face or the lettering is printed twice, transitional errors like wrong metal compositions, wrong planchet strikes. Imagine a penny struck on a dime blank rated as MS68 red, which means it's in nearly perfect shape and still has that bright coppery red luster like the day it was minted. The redder and shinier, the better. And now combine that stunning condition with a significant error like a dramatic double die, and you've got a coin so rare that top collectors are battling over it like it's a Super Bowl ring. Now, let's talk dollars and cents. The current market value of this rare 1977 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, according to recent private sales and auction buzz, is around $1 million. That's right. Not hypothetical. It has sold in top-tier auctions and private collections for that kind of money. Why? Because there's only one or two of its kind known to exist in that perfect of condition. It's like owning a Babe Ruth rookie card in mint condition, rare, historic, and full of stories. So how does that compare to your average 1977 penny? The standard version in circulated condition? Maybe a couple of cents. A really clean one? Maybe a few bucks. But this version? This is the holy grail. Now let's get practical. You're probably wondering, how do I know if my penny is worth $1 million or just a penny? The words liberty and in God we trust may show doubling or blur if the Lincoln Memorial looks fuzzy or shadowed. That could be a double die. A standard 1977 penny should weigh about 3.11 grams. If it's way off, it could have been struck on the wrong blank bright red copper. No discoloration, and no fingerprints will raise value big time. Grab a magnifying glass and a kitchen scale. You don't need fancy tools to do the initial inspection. A couple years back, I was helping my grandpa clean out his garage. He had these old Folgers coffee cans full of coins, pennies, nickels, the works. Now, I was just scooping them up and dumping them into plastic bags for the bank. At one point, I stopped to grab a water and my wife walked in and said, "You should probably check those before dumping them, in case one's worth something." Well, later that night, I got curious. I pulled out a few and looked them up. One of them? A 1969 double die penny. Not quite $1 million coin, but it turned out to be worth $5,000. I was this close to tossing it into a coin counting machine. Moral of the story? Never underestimate your change. And always listen to your wife. So let's say you find a 1977 penny with some of the signs we talked about. What next? Don't clean it. Ever. Cleaning a rare coin destroys its value faster than a toddler with a crayon on a white wall. Take clear photos and send them to a coin expert or appraiser. Get it graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. A high grade is what pushes it into the big money territory. Listed through reputable auction houses, heritage auctions, or Stacksbowers are great places to start. Or, if you want to go private, find a trusted collector or dealer. Just make sure you know what you have before negotiating. So there you have it. The 1977 no mint mark Lincoln penny might seem ordinary, but under the right conditions, with the right error, color, and grade, it can be worth $1 million. That's the kind of money that changes lives. Pays off mortgages. Sends kids to college. Buys a boat. Or, at the very least, a really, really nice grill. So the next time you see a penny on the sidewalk, pick it up. Check it out. You might just be holding the copper jackpot, and if you learned something new today, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button. Smash the like button like you just found $1 million coin. And leave a comment down below if you've ever found something surprising in your change. I'll be back with more real stories about rare coins worth real money. Because your fortune might just be hiding in your pocket. Where spare change might just make you a millionaire. No, seriously. Before you go tossing that penny in the tip jar or using it to scratch a lottery ticket, you might want to take a closer look, because today, we're talking about a plain old 2020 no mint mark Lincoln penny that's worth a jaw-dropping $1.1 million. Yes, that's 6 zeros after the 1. I know it sounds wild, but stick around and I'll explain everything you need to know: what to look for, how it got that value, and how a penny ended up buying a mansion. Now grab a drink, maybe your coin jar, and let's dive into the story of how one of the most common-looking coins turned out to be a treasure in disguise. Alright, before we jump into why the 2020 penny is breaking piggy banks all over America, let's rewind a bit. The Lincoln penny has been a staple in American pockets since 1909. It was created to commemorate Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday. Back then, pennies were made of mostly copper. Now, not so much. Post 1982, they're mostly zinc with a copper coating, kinda like wearing a suit over your pajamas. Looks good on the outside, different on the inside. The design on the front, good ol' honest Abe. On the back? That changed over the years. From wheat ears to the Lincoln Memorial, and more recently, the Union Shield, which looks like it belongs on Captain America's wall. But if you look closely under the year on a coin, you'll usually see a tiny letter like P, D, or S. These letters stand for Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, the main places U.S. coins are minted. But when a penny has no letter at all, it usually means it was minted in Philadelphia, which oddly enough, doesn't always use a mint mark for pennies. So a 2020 penny with no mint mark? Not that rare, until it is the one we're talking about today. It's not just any no mint mark penny. This one has some secrets hiding in plain sight. It's all about errors and rarity. This coin has what's known in the collector world as a striking error and a die clash, but also something else that makes it a unicorn among coins. It's a one-of-a-kind transitional error with doubled features. Collectors found that the design on this penny shows signs of doubling on the obverse, the front side. You can clearly see doubling in Lincoln's eye, his bow tie, and even the word Liberty. And the lettering? It's got that crisp doubling that numismatists go nuts over. This coin was struck on a planchet that wasn't even meant for a penny. That's right. Experts believe it might have been struck on a leftover dime planchet, slightly off-sized, slightly lighter, but still bearing the penny design. One coin. One error. One massive payout. Now let me tell you a little story that changed how I look at coins forever. Back in 2018, I was waiting in line at a gas station, behind this guy who paid with a pile of change. As he walked away, one coin dropped. I picked it up. It was a 1982 penny. I'm thinking, okay, just a regular OL penny. But something about it felt different. I took it home, weighed it, looked it up, and boom, turns out it was a rare copper transition penny. Ended up flipping it for almost $700. Ever since then, I've made it a habit to go through my pocket change. And let me tell you, it's almost therapeutic now. You sit down with a good light, maybe some music, and before you know it, you're deep in the world of errors, doubling, off-centers, and die breaks. So trust me when I say this, if you're not checking your change, you're probably leaving money on the table. The current coin collecting market is hot, like hotter than a summer in Texas hot. Since 2020, coin prices have surged, especially rare errors and mint anomalies. With online auction platforms like eBay, heritage auctions, and great collections, it's never been easier to sell that 1 in a million penny, the 2020 no mint mark Lincoln penny we're talking about. It went through a high-profile private auction, with intense bidding wars between three major collectors. Final price tag? $1.1 million. That's not a typo, and this coin wasn't even discovered until 2023, 3 years after it was minted. Which means, there could still be others out there, hiding in drawers, jars, or the bottom of your car's cup holder. Should be under the date, especially in Lincoln's eye, bow tie, and the word liberty. Look for weird raised lines or ghost-like images where they shouldn't be. If your penny feels too light or too small, get it weighed. A standard penny weighs 2.5 grams. If it's significantly off, you could be onto something. Use a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe. Even your smartphone camera can help zoom in these days. Don't go running to the nearest pawn shop at first. Protect it, put it in a coin flip or airtight holder, and next, get it graded. The top grading companies are PCGS and NGC. They'll authenticate and grade your coin, which adds massive value. Then, time to sell. You can list it with major auction houses or even negotiate a private deal. But always get professional help. Don't undersell $1 million fine. So there you have it, folks. A 2020 penny with no mint mark, something we see every day, could be worth a life-changing $1.1 million. All because of a few errors and a little luck. Start checking your coins. Look through those jars, your old jeans, your car's glove compartment. You never know where treasure might be hiding. Who knew becoming a millionaire could start with a penny? And hey, if you enjoyed this video, found it helpful, or at the very least laughed once, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button, tap the bell so you don't miss out on any future finds, and share this video with someone who always leaves their change lying around. It might just change their life. Thanks for watching, and remember, keep flipping those coins. You might just flip your fortune. You ever had that moment when you're digging through your junk drawer looking for some batteries, or maybe that one pen that actually works, and you stumble across a handful of old pennies? Yeah, same here. Now imagine finding one of those pennies, and it's worth over $1 million. Sounds like a dream, right? Well, hold on to your magnifying glasses, because today we're talking about a penny that could turn your lunch money into luxury living. I'm talking about the legendary 1993 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. It looks like just another copper coin at first glance, but the truth is this little guy could fetch up to $1.2 million in today's collector's market. That's right. A single cent. One coin. No mint mark. And it might be hiding in your pocket change right now. So grab your coin jar, your grandpa's old stash, or whatever change is under your car seats, because by the time we're done, you're gonna want to double check every single penny. Now let's dive into what makes the 1993 no mint mark Lincoln penny so insanely valuable, how to spot one, and how to avoid tossing a fortune into the tip jar at your local diner. Let's rewind a bit to 1993. Bill Clinton was president. Jurassic Park hit theaters. And gas was about $1 a gallon. Amid all that, the U.S. Mint continued churning out billions of pennies like clockwork. The Lincoln penny, featuring Honest Abe's famous profile, has been in production since 1909. And in 1993, most of these pennies were produced in two major locations, Philadelphia and Denver. Coins from Denver get a little D mint mark. Coins from Philly usually get no mint mark at all, which is standard practice for Lincoln since, well, it turns out, there's a particular error version of this coin. A rare mistake. A whoops at the mint that collectors drool over. And that mistake, combined with its rarity and historical context, is what gives it its wild $1.2 million price tag today. Most coins go through a pretty standard production process. But every now and then, something slips through the cracks. Maybe it's a doubled die, a misstrike, or in this case, a planchet error. A planchet is just a fancy term for the metal blank that gets stamped into a coin. The ultra-rare 1993 no-mint mark Lincoln penny wasn't just stamped on any blank, it was mistakenly struck on a copper planchet instead of the correct copper-plated zinc one used after 1982. That's right. After 1982, the mint stopped using mostly copper in pennies to save money. Instead, they switched to cheaper zinc cores with just a thin layer of copper on top. But for reasons unknown, a few 1993 pennies were struck on older, pure copper planchets. Think of it like they accidentally baked grandma's apple pie recipe using gold dust instead of flour. It just hits different. This rare metal composition, combined with the absence of a mint mark and flawless preservation, makes these coins some of the most valuable Lincoln cents ever discovered. Alright, let's talk identification. Because you can't cash in if you don't know what you're looking for. A regular post 1982 penny weighs about 2.5 grams. A copper-based penny from earlier years weighs about 3.11 grams. If your 1993 penny hits the 3.11 g range, you might have the jackpot. You'll need a precise digital scale to check this, no guessing by hand weight. Copper pennies tend to have a richer, deeper color than the zinc versions. If your 1993 penny looks slightly darker or redder than others, pay attention. Like all coins, condition matters. A mint-state, uncirculated 1993 penny in pristine condition is far more valuable than one that's been through the laundry 5 times. Ultimately, to confirm its value, you'll need to send your coin to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll authenticate it, grade it, and if you're lucky, send it back with a label that says you're rich now. A friend of mine, Mike, is a school custodian in Ohio. A couple years back, he got into coin collecting thanks to a YouTube video kind of like this one. One slow afternoon, he was sweeping up around the vending machines and noticed a penny that looked different. He tossed it in his pocket. Months later, he pulled out his old change jar and started sorting through it with a little kitchen scale. That same vending machine penny? Turned out it weighed 3.11 grams. It was a 1993, no mint mark, sharp details. He sent it in to be graded. And yep, authentic copper planchet. Value? Over $850,000 at auction. He used the money to retire early and open a small fishing lodge in Michigan. All because of one penny. Maybe. Maybe not. But you've got just as good a chance if you start checking your change. It all comes down to 3 things: rarity, condition, and collector demand. Only a tiny number of these era 1993 pennies were struck on copper blanks. We're talking handfuls, maybe less. That scarcity alone drives the price through the roof. Then there's condition. A circulated copper 1993 penny might still go for tens of thousands, but one in mint condition? That's the $1 million baby. Finally, there's the market. Coin collectors love errors. The weirder, the better. And when you've got an error like this, an off-metal strike that shouldn't even exist, you better believe collectors will open their wallets wide. So let's say you're holding a 1993 no mint mark penny, and it's copper. What now? Don't clean it. Seriously, don't even wipe it with your shirt. Cleaning a coin can ruin its value faster than dropping it in a blender. Send it for professional grading. PCGS or NGC are the gold standard. Yes, it costs a bit, but if your coin's worth millions, it's a small investment. Consider selling it through a major auction house like Heritage or Stacksbowers. They'll market your coin to collectors worldwide. Even if you don't find a 1993 no mint mark copper penny, there are plenty of other Lincoln cents worth big bucks. 1943 copper pennies, 1982 small date copper, 1992 close AM, 1995 doubled die, 1969 S doubled die. The point is, pennies might be small, but the rewards for paying attention can be huge. That a tiny, almost forgotten penny from 1993 with no mint mark might just be your ticket to a 7-figure payday. That rare errors still slip through the system. That treasures really can be hiding in plain sight, in your pockets, your couch cushions, even under your car mats, and that sometimes, all it takes is a little curiosity, a cheap scale, and a good flashlight to uncover something life-changing. Before you toss your next handful of change in a jar or into the donation box, give those pennies a second look. You never know what you're holding, and hey, if you found this video helpful, entertaining, or just downright unbelievable, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button. Tap the like. And don't forget to share this with someone who still thinks pennies are worthless, because the next millionaire could be watching this video. And it might be you. We turn pocket change into a potential gold mine. Now before you go tossing that jar of pennies into the Coinstar machine, hang tight, because that old 1988 no mint mark Lincoln penny you just shrugged off might just be worth a cool $1.3 million. Yeah, you heard me right. 1.3 million. For a penny. A coin you probably left under your couch cushion, or maybe used to scrape gum off your shoe. Now imagine this: you're standing in line at the gas station, digging for change, and unknowingly hand over a coin that could have bought you a mansion, a yacht, and still left you with enough to splurge on deluxe toilet paper for the rest of your life. Painful thought, right? Well, today, we're gonna break it all down. What makes this 1988 penny so special? Why is it worth millions? What should you look for in your own stash? And of course, I'll share a little story of how I almost lost one of these priceless treasures to a vending machine. So sit back, grab a coffee or your favorite snack, and let's dig into the wild, weird, and surprisingly valuable world of the 1988 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. Alright, let's start with the basics. The 1988 Lincoln penny is part of the regular Lincoln Memorial Cent series that ran from 1959 to 2008. Honest Abe's side profile on the front, and the Lincoln Memorial Building on the back. Simple, right? Most 1988 pennies were minted at either the Philadelphia Mint, no mint mark, or the Denver Mint, marked with a little d just under the date. But it's the Philadelphia no mint mark 1988 Lincoln penny that has collectors going wild, because a rare batch of these pennies had a small but crucial error. A very small number of 1988 Lincoln cents were struck using what collectors called a 1989 reverse design, and this happened due to a die mix-up. You've got a 1988 front paired with a 1989 back. It's subtle, but oh boy, it makes all the difference in the world of coin collectors. This mishap is known as the transitional design error, and it's one of the rarest and most valuable you can find in the Lincoln Memorial series. Now, to the untrained eye, it might look like just another penny. But zoom in on the FG initials on the reverse. Those are the designer Frank Gasparo's initials. In the normal 1988 cent, the G is slightly further from the Lincoln Memorial base. But in the 1989 reverse, which accidentally got used on some 1988 pennies, that G is much closer and sharper in appearance. That tiny difference? Yeah, that's the million-dollar mistake. Well, so far, only a few authentic examples have been confirmed by professional grading companies like PCGS and NGC. And the few that have been found were in pretty solid condition. In fact, one in mint state condition, we're talking MS67 red, was auctioned off for a jaw-dropping $1.3 million. The reason it's worth so much? Scarcity and demand. Simple supply and demand economics. There are thousands of collectors all over the world, but only a handful of these error coins in existence. That, my friends, is why you never, ever underestimate a penny. A personal story, the vending machine penny. Now let me tell you a little story about a close call I had. I was in my early 30s, broke, hungry, and standing in front of a vending machine like it held the keys to heaven. I reached into my car's coin tray and grabbed some change. One penny stood out, looked unusually crisp, like it had just taken a shower and shaved. I was just about to slot it into the machine when a little voice in my head said, "Wait a minute, check that date." I flipped it over. 1988, no mint mark. Something about it felt off. I didn't know about the 1989 reverse at the time, but I had a gut feeling, maybe from watching too many coin videos. Tossed it in my pocket instead. Months later, I saw a post online about the 1988 transitional reverse error. I sprinted to my drawer like it was the last donut in the house. And there it was, the rare one. Now, mine wasn't in perfect mint condition, but it still got graded at MS63 and ended up being worth tens of thousands. Not bad for a coin that nearly became payment for a bag of Funyuns. How to spot the $1.3 million 1988 penny? If you see a D under the date, it's from Denver, and you can move on. Date must say 1988. Flip to the reverse side, look at the initials FG near the Lincoln Memorial base. If the G is tucked close to the building and sharply defined, you might have a 1989 reverse. The shinier and less damaged, the more valuable it'll be. Get it professionally graded if you think you found one. PCGS, NGC, NX, these guys are your best bet to authenticate and value it. And don't clean your coin. That shiny polished job you're tempted to do? It'll knock off thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands, off the value. Old coin jars, estate sales, garage sales, coin roll hunting. Grab a box of pennies from the bank and start searching. Flea markets and antique shops. All you need is a magnifying glass, a bit of patience, and a whole lot of luck. If you're serious, get yourself a coin microscope or one of those pocket magnifiers. It'll save your eyes and help you spot those teeny tiny details. Quick warning here, where there's big money, there are also scammers. Some people try to doctor coins to make them look like the rare variety. Don't fall for it, only trust coins that have been authenticated by trusted grading services. Don't buy from sketchy sites or sellers with no reviews. Always ask for proof of authenticity, and if it seems too good to be true, well, you know the rest. So there you have it, folks. A humble 1988 no mint mark Lincoln penny that could literally change your life. Who would have thought that a coin most people walk past on the sidewalk could be hiding $1 million secret? These coins are still out there. Sitting in change jars, resting in drawers, stuck in couch cushions, or rattling around in some forgotten piggy bank. Go check your stash. Dig through that old box of coins. Look closely at every 1988 penny you come across. You might be holding something truly incredible. Please, for the love of Abe, don't spend it on a candy bar. If you enjoyed this video and want more tips, tricks, and treasure hunts for rare coins, hit that subscribe button and give this video a big thumbs up. We're uncovering more coin secrets every week, ones that could make you rich without ever stepping into a casino. Got a cool coin story? Drop it in the comments. I'd love to hear how close you've come to coin gold. Hey there, coin hunters and treasure seekers. You ever dig through your spare change and think, there's no way anything in here is worth more than a trip to the vending machine? Well, buckle up, my friend, because today we're diving into a little copper beauty that could change your life, a 1984 Lincoln 1-cent penny with no mint mark, currently valued at a jaw-dropping $1.4 million. Yes, you heard that right. Not $14. $1,400,000. Now, before you dump your entire piggy bank onto the kitchen floor and start inspecting every penny with a magnifying glass, let's take a deep dive into why this particular coin is so valuable, what makes it rare, and how you could be the lucky one to cash in. Also, I've got a funny little story from my own experience with pocket change that you won't want to miss. Let's get into the nitty-gritty of coin collecting magic, Lincoln penny style. So let's start with a quick refresher. The Lincoln penny has been around since 1909. It's the longest-running design in U.S. coinage history. In 1984, most of these pennies were minted in Philadelphia and Denver. If there's no mint mark under the date, it was made in Philly. Simple, right? But here's the twist. The 1984 no mint mark penny that's worth the millions isn't just your everyday Philadelphia penny. It's got a flaw, a rare error. And in the world of coin collecting, a flaw can mean a fortune. We're talking about the infamous double die obverse. Sounds like a spy movie, but it just means that the design on the front of the coin was stamped twice by accident. This mistake gives Lincoln's face and the text on the coin a slight doubling effect. Now, a normal 1984 penny is only worth, well, 1 cent. But the double die version? That's a completely different story. Especially when it's in perfect condition. We're talking mint state, red coloration, no scratches, no fingerprints, no signs of wear. You don't need a PhD in coinology. Yes, I made that up, to spot a 1984 double die penny. All you need is a good eye or a magnifying glass, and a little patience. Lincoln's ear. If Honest Abe suddenly has a weird ghost ear behind his regular one, you're looking at something rare, the word liberty. You'll see the letters kind of shadowing themselves, and the phrase, "In God we trust," especially the word trust. If it looks blurry or thick, that could be the jackpot sign. Now, just finding one of these doesn't automatically mean you're retiring early. The coin's condition matters big time. If it's scratched up, bent, or has a gum stain from 1998, its value drops dramatically. Alright, let's talk numbers. Because who doesn't like numbers when they've got dollar signs in front of them? A pristine 1984 no mint mark double die Lincoln penny has sold at major auctions for over $1.4 million. That's not an estimate. That's real cash in a real collector's hands. Multiple coins in slightly lower grades have sold for tens of thousands. These coins are bought by high-end collectors, rare coin investors, and yes, even museums. And the demand keeps going up, especially as coin content creators and hobbyists spread the word. Like we're doing here. The bottom line? This isn't just a fluke. It's a legit rare find. Let me tell you a quick personal story. A few years back, I was helping my uncle clean out his garage. He had a giant coffee can, and I kid you not, it was overflowing with old pennies. He said it was his rainy day fund, but I think he was just too lazy to cash it in anyway. We sat down on his porch and started going through it. Most of the coins were beat up or stuck together with God knows what. But then I saw this one shiny penny. It was a 1984 no mint mark. And sure enough, it looked a little off. Lincoln's ear had an echo. The word trust looked thick. We took it to a local coin shop the next day. The guy behind the counter put on his glasses, pulled out his loupe, and his eyebrows went up. He told us it might be a double die. Now here's the kicker. That coin wasn't in mint condition. It had some light scratches and fingerprint smudges. But even then, the appraiser said it could be worth up to $8,000 in its current state. My uncle almost dropped his sandwich. You never know what's hiding in a pile of pennies. Check your change. Pockets, jars, drawers, glove boxes. Anywhere loose change collects. Get yourself a decent magnifying glass. Doesn't have to be fancy. Even your phone's zoom camera can work. Focus on 1984 no-mint mark pennies. Look closely at Lincoln's ear, the lettering, and compare it to normal pennies online. You'll find plenty of reference images. If you think you've got a winner, do not clean the coin. That can ruin its value. Take it to a professional coin dealer or submit it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC. If you strike gold, or should I say, copper, maybe give your favorite coin channel a shout out. It's about rarity, history, and prestige. Having a 1 in a million error coin is like owning the rarest baseball card or the first edition of a famous novel. It's a piece of American culture. Plus, coin collecting is one of the most active hobbies in the US, with thousands of members, conventions, and online forums. So yeah, it may just be a penny, but to a collector, it's treasure. The 1984 no-mint mark Lincoln penny might just look like spare change to most people, but now you know the truth. That little coin could be hiding a massive payday. With a double die obverse in the right condition, we're talking $1.4 million. That's house buying, debt clearing, early retirement money. So next time someone rolls their eyes when you say you're checking your pennies, just smile. Because treasure doesn't always shine, it clinks. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe for more tips on coins worth crazy money, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new find. We're uncovering coin secrets, one penny at a time, and hey, drop a comment below if you've ever found a rare coin or if you're about to go raid your grandpa's coin jar. Thanks for watching, and remember, sometimes it's the smallest things in life that hold the biggest value. Hey folks! Do me a favor. Reach into your pocket, your wallet, or that old jar sitting on top of your fridge. Yep, that jar you haven't looked inside since 2003. You just might be sitting on a tiny treasure chest, and I'm not talking about a pirate movie, because today, we're diving into one of the most unbelievable, most mind-blowing penny stories of all time. We're talking about the 1972 no-mint mark Lincoln cent. A coin that looks like it's worth, well, 1 cent, but hold your horses, it could be worth $1.5 million. Yeah, I said $1.5 million for a single penny. So stick around, because I'm about to break down everything you need to know about this coin, how to spot a valuable one, the story behind it, and why some lucky collector might retire just from flipping a copper coin. And toward the end, I'll even tell you a story about the time I almost threw away a small fortune at a gas station. Alright? First off, let's talk about what makes a penny like this so special. In 1972, the US Mint was pumping out Lincoln pennies like candy on Halloween. Billions of them. Most were made in Philadelphia and therefore have no mint mark, which is common for Philly coins, but here's the twist: some of these coins have a very specific error called a double die obverse, or DDO for short. And that little mishap in the minting process? That's what cranks up the value from 1 cent to $1.5 million. This error causes the design on the front side of the penny, Lincoln's profile, the word Liberty, the date 1972, and the phrase, "In God We Trust," to appear doubled. Like it got a shadow or ghost twin right behind it, but not every 1972 penny is valuable. Only those with this dramatic doubling, and only in pristine condition, are worth the big bucks. And when I say pristine, I mean uncirculated, minty fresh, not scratched up from decades of living in a cash register drawer next to old gum wrappers. Back in the early 70s, the mint still used engraved steel dies to strike each coin. And sometimes, during the creation of these dies, the engraving gets slightly misaligned during a second strike, causing a doubled image. Now normally, these mistakes get caught and destroyed, but some always sneak through. In the case of the 1972 Lincoln cent, the doubling was so clear, especially on the word Liberty, that coin collectors instantly recognized it as a major find. Soon after, word spread, and folks started flipping every 1972 penny they could get their hands on. Kind of like a treasure hunt, only instead of gold doubloons, it's copper cents, and because not many were found in high grades, those few that survived in near-perfect condition have become ultra-valuable. Okay, now here's the juicy part. How do you know if you've got the real deal? The coin must be from Philadelphia, so there should be no D or S under the date. The letters should appear double-stamped. The doubling is especially bold here, the date 1972, look for shadows or separation lines on the numbers. The better the condition, the higher the value. If it's red, shiny, and hasn't been passed around too much, you've got a better shot at a big payday. But if you think you found one, don't take it to your local pawn shop. Get it certified by a professional coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. These folks can give you an official grade and valuation. Some MS66 red examples, translation, super shiny and basically brand new, have sold for over $14,000. But the top specimen, in almost flawless condition, pulled in $1.5 million at auction from a collector who just had to have the finest known piece. Now let me tell you a quick personal story. A few years back, I stopped at a gas station in the middle of nowhere, one of those old places with flickering lights and stale beef jerky. I paid cash, got my change, and walked back to the car. As I was tossing the change into my cup holder, I caught a glimpse of a penny that looked odd. Something about the lettering caught my eye. Now, I wasn't a coin guy at the time, but I'd heard of doubled dies before. So I took it home, put it under a magnifying glass, and sure enough, clear doubling on the letters and the date. Turns out, it was a 1995 double die, not as rare as the 1972, but still worth a nice chunk of change. Don't ignore your pocket change. That old saying? A penny saved is a penny earned? Might as well be a penny saved is $1 million earned. Don't clean it. Ever. Even if it looks dirty, leave it alone. Cleaning can ruin its value. As I mentioned, send it to PCGS or NGC. You can even look into ANA certified dealers to help you. Use sites like Heritage Auctions, eBay, for reference, not to sell, or Great Collections to see what similar coins have sold for. Sell through a reputable auction house or dealer. You'll get the exposure and credibility needed for serious collectors to trust the listing. The right buyer will pay the right price when the right coin comes along. We learned that a 1972 penny, something most folks would overlook, can be a financial goldmine if it's got the right features. We learned how a simple minting error, a double die, can turn a common coin into a collector's dream. We even learned that it's worth flipping through your pocket change like a squirrel looking for acorns. Maybe you're sitting on a $1.5 million copper beauty right now and don't even know it. Check your coins, share this video with someone who might have a coin jar, and hit that subscribe button so you never miss out on tips, tricks, and real-world strategies to spot coins worth money. We've got videos coming up on more valuable Lincoln cents, error quarters worth thousands, and even some secret tips coin dealers don't want you to know, because here, we don't just collect coins, we collect wealth, knowledge, and stories. So until next time, may your pockets be heavy, your pennies be rare, and your luck be Lincoln-sized. Thanks for watching, and go check that change jar right now. You might just strike copper gold.